She crossed the street every single time she saw one. She'd never allow one near her children. She'd warned her neighbors, avoided dog parks, and even turned down dinner invitations when she heard there'd be a Staffie in the house. Then, on a rainy Tuesday afternoon, she brought one home. Within a month, that same dog was sleeping on her pillow, attending her daughter's birthday party, and sitting beside her every time she cried. Her name is Sarah, and her story? It's not as rare as you'd think. All across the world, people who once feared Staffordshire Bull Terriers are doing a complete 180. And today, we're going to find out exactly why. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating stories in the dog world. The journey from fear to unconditional love. Whether you're someone who's always been nervous around Staffies, or you're already a die-hard fan looking to understand the breed better, this video is for you. Stay with us, because what you're about to hear might completely change the way you see these incredible dogs. Before we talk about love, we need to talk honestly about the fear, because dismissing it doesn't help anyone. Fear of Staffies is real, widespread, and here's the important part, almost entirely built on misinformation. So where does it actually come from? Let's break it down. Turn on the news after a dog-related incident, and what do you see? A headline that reads, "Dangerous dog attacks child." Rarely does that headline tell the full story of the dog's history, its treatment, its environment, or even its actual breed. Studies have shown time and again that media coverage of dog attacks disproportionately identifies dogs as pit bull types or Staffie types, even when breed identification is uncertain or outright wrong. The result? A slow, steady drip of negative association that builds up in the public consciousness over the years. Staffies, with their muscular build and broad heads, are an easy visual target. People see the shape and assume the worst without ever meeting the dog. Here's something most people don't know. Staffordshire Bull Terriers are frequently confused with American Pit Bull Terriers, American Bulldogs, and several other breeds. They are entirely different dogs with different histories and different temperaments, but to the untrained eye, they can look similar. This confusion matters enormously because legislation, news coverage, and public fear often get applied to Staffies based on incidents involving completely different breeds. It's a case of mistaken identity with very real consequences for the dogs and for the people who love them. And then there's the most personal reason of all: lived experience. If you were chased, bitten, or frightened by a dog as a child, your brain doesn't file that memory under one bad dog. It files it under dogs are dangerous. That fear response is automatic, deeply wired, and completely valid. When those individuals encounter a large, muscular breed like a Staffie, that alarm system fires even if the dog in front of them is the gentlest creature on the planet. The body reacts before the brain can reason. Understanding this is crucial because it means overcoming the fear isn't about being irrational. It's about creating new experiences that can slowly rewrite the old story. Now let's talk about who Staffies actually are. Not the version created by headlines, the real version, the one that Staffie owners know and live with every single day. Staffordshire Bull Terriers have been nicknamed the nanny dog for generations, and that nickname didn't come from nowhere. Historically, working-class British families trusted Staffies to watch over their children while they worked. These dogs were chosen specifically because of their patience, gentleness, and deep loyalty to family. The UK's own Kennel Club officially describes the Staffordshire Bull Terrier as highly intelligent and affectionate, especially with children. That's not marketing language, it's a breed standard built over centuries of documented temperament. Today, Staffies continue to rank among the most family-friendly breeds in temperament assessments. A study by the American Temperament Test Society found that Staffies passed at a rate of over 90%, higher than many breeds considered safe by the general public, including golden retrievers. One of the things that surprises people most when they actually spend time with a Staffie is how emotionally in tune they are. These dogs don't just love you, they read you. Staffie owners regularly report that their dogs seem to know when they're sad, anxious, or unwell, and respond by offering comfort without being asked. They'll rest their head on your lap when you're crying, they'll sit quietly beside you when you're overwhelmed, they'll check on you in the middle of the night, This emotional sensitivity is one of the biggest reasons people who meet Staffies for the first time are caught completely off guard. They expected a boisterous, unpredictable animal. They got a devoted, empathetic companion who seems to understand them on a level that's hard to put into words. Staffies are also exceptionally smart and genuinely eager to please, a combination that makes them one of the most rewarding breeds to train. They pick up commands quickly, respond well to positive reinforcement, and thrive when given a job to do. This intelligence combined with their social nature means that a well-raised Staffie is a joy to be around. They're not chaotic or unpredictable. They're engaged, responsive, and deeply connected to the people around them. And here's the thing about intelligent, people-focused dogs. They reflect their environment. A Staffie raised with patience, love, and consistency will give you all of that back, multiplied. Let's take a moment to understand what's actually happening in the brain when someone fears a dog, and what it takes to change it. The amygdala processes fear, the brain's alarm system. When it identifies something as a threat, it triggers a response before conscious thought even has a chance to weigh in. This is why telling someone to just get over it doesn't work. You can't reason your way out of an amygdala response. What you can do is create new, positive experiences that build a competing pathway in the brain. Over time, through repeated calm, safe interactions, the new pathway can become stronger than the fear response. Scientists call this extinction learning. Dog lovers call it meeting the right dog at the right time. And for so many people, that dog has been a Staffie. The key elements that make Staffies particularly effective at helping people overcome dog fear include their ability to read human emotion and respond calmly, their non-threatening body language when relaxed, and their almost comical desire to make people happy. It's very hard to stay afraid of a dog that's desperately trying to make you smile. Now let's hear the stories that make all of this real. Because statistics are one thing, but human experience is something else entirely. Sarah is 34 years old and grew up in a household that had a bad experience with a large dog when she was just 5. For nearly 3 decades, she avoided dogs entirely, crossing streets, skipping social events, and feeling a wave of panic anytime one approached her. Then her neighbor, knowing nothing of Sarah's fear, knocked on her door one evening with a Staffie rescue named Max. The neighbor needed an emergency dog sitter for one night. I nearly said no, Sarah recalls, but I felt too embarrassed, so I said yes and just locked myself in the bedroom. By midnight, Max had quietly pushed the bedroom door open, walked to the side of the bed, and rested his chin on the mattress. He didn't jump, he didn't bark, he just looked at her. I don't know why I reached out and touched him, she says. But I did, and he just sighed, like he was relieved. And I started crying, properly crying. Years of fear just came out of me. Sarah now has 2 Staffies. She volunteers at her local rescue centre every weekend. John is 47 and describes himself as a confessed not a dog person. When his wife announced she was adopting a Staffie named Bella, he made his feelings very clear. I told her it was a mistake. I said they were dangerous. I said I'd read about them online. She adopted Bella anyway. For the first 2 weeks, John kept his distance. He didn't interact with Bella, didn't feed her, didn't walk her. Then one evening, while sitting alone watching football, Bella walked in, climbed onto the sofa uninvited, and fell asleep with her head on his knee. I didn't move for 2 hours, he laughs. I didn't want to disturb her, and I remember thinking, this isn't what I expected at all. Today, John is the one who wakes up early to walk Bella. He's joined a local Staffie owners group. He's even started advocating online against breed-specific legislation. She changed the whole energy of our home, he says. I didn't expect to become a Staffie guy, but here I am. Maria is a primary school teacher who, 2 years ago, would have described herself as having a genuine phobia of large dogs. She sought therapy for it. She took different routes to work. She Googled hypoallergenic small dogs, hoping to find a breed she could tolerate at a distance. Then one of her students brought in a class therapy dog, a Staffie named Bruno, for a reading session. I nearly asked for him to be removed, she admits, but the children were so calm around him. So I watched, and Bruno just lay there while they read to him, completely still, completely peaceful. One little girl who struggled with reading started reading aloud for the first time ever to Bruno. And I thought, what kind of animal does that? Maria now has her own Staffie. Bruno's owner helped her through the process step by step. I never thought I'd say this, but having a Staffie has genuinely made me a braver person. If any of those stories resonated with you, if there's a part of you that's curious but still nervous, here are some genuinely practical steps that have helped hundreds of people go from fear to love. Before you ever interact with a Staffie, spend time learning about the breed from credible, balanced sources, not just headlines. Read about their history, their temperament testing results, and their role as therapy and assistance dogs. Understanding the reality of what a Staffie actually is begins to dismantle the imagined version that fear has created. Knowledge doesn't just inform, it empowers. And empowerment is the first crack in the wall of fear. Not all first encounters are equal. Your first interaction with a Staffie should be on your terms, in a calm environment, with a dog you've been told is well socialized, and an owner who understands what you're working through. Many Staffie rescue organizations and owner communities actively welcome nervous visitors. They know their dogs, they understand the fear, and they're incredibly patient. Reaching out to one of these groups and explaining your situation can lead to a beautifully managed first meeting that changes everything. There's no timeline for this. Some people need weeks of slow, steady exposure. Others, like Sarah, find their moment of change comes unexpectedly in the middle of the night. Don't force it. Don't shame yourself for still feeling nervous after the first meeting. Every positive experience is a deposit into a new emotional account, and eventually the balance tips. One of the most powerful things you can do is connect with people who love Staffies and who were once where you are. Staffie owner communities are some of the warmest, most welcoming groups in the dog world. They celebrate converts. They share stories. They'll send you photos of their dogs at completely random times just because they know it'll help. Online groups, local meetups, rescue volunteer days, all of these offer a low-pressure environment to build familiarity, ask honest questions, and slowly discover what millions of people already know. These dogs are something special. This isn't just a feel-good story about dogs. There's a bigger picture here that genuinely matters. Staffordshire Bull Terriers are one of the most abandoned and euthanized breeds in the world, largely because of the fear and misrepresentation we've talked about today. Rescue centres are overwhelmed with Staffies who are passed over again and again because of how they look. When people educate themselves, when fear turns to love, when one person shares their story, it creates a ripple effect. Fewer dogs are abandoned. More dogs find homes. And slowly, the narrative around this incredible breed begins to change. Every person who goes from crossing the street to avoid a Staffie to walking one is part of that change, and that's worth something. Fear is almost always a story we tell ourselves before we know the truth. It's built from fragments. A headline here, a moment there, a shape that triggers something old and protective inside us. But truth has a way of dismantling stories. And with Staffies, the truth is impossible to ignore once you've actually experienced it. A dog that reads your emotions, that guards your children, that makes you feel less alone at 2 a.m. when the world feels too heavy. That greets you like you've been gone for years, even if you just went to get milk. That's a Staffie. That's the truth behind the fear. If you've been on this journey, from fear to love, we want to hear from you. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. Drop it in the comments below. And if you know someone nervous around Staffies, share this video with them. You may be the reason they meet their new best friend. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, because every week we bring you more stories that remind us exactly why dogs make life better. Thanks so much for watching, and always remember, love knows no breed.